So why am I showing you makeup brushes and I don't even wear makeup? Well, it's because these fluffy brushes for makeup are absolutely perfect for acrylic paint. And they're kind of like one of my secret tricks that I've been using for a really long time for acrylic, because you can get like a whole package of different size makeup brushes for about the cost of like one nice fancy acrylic brush. And even like these little fluffy ones are absolutely perfect. These are really good for blending acrylic paint and doing like really nice gradients. So I'm going to do a demo here with these fluffy brushes. One thing you always want to check on these brushes though is give them a little fluff and kind of make sure there's no loose hairs. So here I'm just going to put the paint directly on the canvas, and I'm using a heavy bodied acrylic from Meeden. You can also use fluid acrylic if you want to. You can also add acrylic retarder if you feel like your acrylic paint is drying too fast. That's another way to get nice blends. But here, just doing heavy body acrylic. I'm doing 3 colors here to kind of do almost kind of a sunset style gradient, and just doing 2 lines of each color across the canvas. And you want to use quite a bit of paint because you want to be able to cover the entire canvas. And the other thing you'll need for this is a large flat brush and some water. And I just have a large acrylic paintbrush. Any large flat brush will do. And then just get that brush wet, and then you just want to cover your whole canvas with these 3 colors by just pulling the paint across the canvas until all of the canvas is full. And don't really worry about blending the colors in this stage, and don't worry about if it looks kind of muddy or messy. You just want to get those 3 colors across the canvas. You want to do this kind of quickly so the paint doesn't dry, because acrylic does dry fast. And here, just working that blue across the top, and you'll notice you will start to get like some nice purples in between the blue and the red, and some nice oranges between the red and the yellow. And that is the eventual goal with the blending of the makeup brushes. And so now just grab one of these nice fluffy brushes, and you want to do this when the brush is dry. And so just make sure it's completely dry, and then just start. I usually start kind of a circular motion to blend the 2 colors together, and then just working back and forth just to blend those 2 colors together. And you'll see almost immediately how well these nice big fluffy soft brushes will blend that acrylic. This works well for oils too, to use a big fluffy brush like this. And this entire package of brushes was only like $4 when I've paid that much for one single fluffy artist paintbrush. So much better deal. And then if you do wear makeup, then you've got some extra makeup brushes too. So it's kind of like a win-win. And then you'll just keep swiping that paint back and forth. And then when you go to your next color, go ahead and switch to another clean dry brush so you don't muddy the color. And same thing here, just kind of start in a circular motion to kind of blend those 2 together, and then just go back and forth. And sorry, I'm not holding down my canvas, so it wants to move. I'm using my big easel, and so I don't have a way to clamp this little canvas down currently. So just go back and forth and blend those 2 colors together. And get kind of a nice purple in between there. If your brush starts to get too muddy, just use a clean paper towel and wipe some of the paint off. I wiped a little bit of that blue off so it was getting too dark. And then just keep working it back and forth until you're happy with the gradient. And if for some reason, say you don't like how dark an area is getting, you can just add a little bit more paint and do the same technique. You can go back and forth. So I'm just blending that blue down into the red, and I grab another dry brush and give it just a little bit more blending to get a little bit more purple in between. The camera is making it look very dark, but it is a very pretty purple color, as you'll see in the final photo. The lighting here just makes it look like a dark blue, but it's actually purple. Just blending that into that red, which is now turned into a nice orange. And then just going back and forth, and I usually just blend until I'm happy. The color, you can see there, I got a little bit too much blue down to the red. That's no problem. I'll just wipe my brush off and then get a clean brush and then pull that red back up while the paint is still wet, and then just keep blending back and forth. And now the yellow did get a little bit dry, so I'm going to add a little more yellow to the base because I feel like I've lost a little too much of that yellow. So I'm going to clean one of my brushes off here and then dry it. Try to get as much water out as possible. One downside of these big fluffy brushes is they do hold a lot of water and take longer to dry because they are so fluffy. So dry it really good on a paper towel. And once it's nice and dry, go back to blending. Pull that yellow up a little bit more into that kind of red-orange. Just kind of get that nice soft gradient. And since I am kind of going for a sunset look, it's kind of nice that it almost creates almost like a natural sort of cloud look. And like I said, the yellow is pretty dry, so I'm going to add just a little bit more paint on top here, so I can just blend a little bit more yellow in. I want to be a little bit brighter at the base of this painting. And same thing once again, clean that brush, get all that water out, then dry it off. And then I'm going to blend that yellow and just put it across the canvas and back up into that red, which is now mostly like a reddish orange. And just back and forth and softly blend that in. And blend the blue just a little bit more. And it's just kind of a back and forth until you're happy with the blending and the gradient. And it sometimes takes a little time to get used to, but overall, pretty happy with this. Nice sunset sky on the canvas. And then now you're ready to paint your subject matter on top. You can also do this if you've like masked off an area where you're going to paint, but there you go, a nice gradient sunset with makeup brushes. I'll link those brushes I used below, so be sure to check them out.